Mr. Snoop's Carrots. One dark cold winter, the village of Shiver was hungry, so hungry that some of the people began to look very, very thin. "Our potatoes have gone bad," they said to one another. "Their harvest was poor too, so we have very little corn to make bread. It's no good asking the next villages to help us, for they are off as badly as we are." "We'd better bring all we've got to the mayor," said Dame Bent. "Some of us have turnips and carrots, some have corn, some have dried meat. Let's all bring what we've got, and then the mayor can share it out between us so we all have the same." "Yes, that's a good idea," said Mother Bright Eyes. "It'll be fair to everyone." Old Man Snoop didn't think it was a good idea at all. He had a whole cellar full of carrots, good orange carrots, and he didn't want to share them with anybody. There were enough there to make him soup for the whole winter. Why should he share them with anyone else? Everyone had to go to the mayor and declare what he had in his cellars or larder. Then, the next day, the mayor would send men to collect the things, and after that they would be stored and doled out through the forlorn winter. Mr. Snoop went to declare what stores he had. "A dozen carrots," he said in a doleful voice, "and a packet of tea, a little sugar and a little dried meat." "Why, Mr. Snoop, you have hundreds and hundreds of carrots," said Dame Bent at once. "You know you have. Surely you're not thinking of keeping those all for yourself. 12 carrots indeed. I hope the mayor's servants will explore your cellars well and take away all your carrots. You're a nasty, mean old man." "I'm not," said Mr. Snoop, feeling angry because everyone had heard what Dame Bent had said. "I only have about 12 carrots, as I said, and the mayor's servants can certainly explore my cellars, and to prove I'm not mean, I say this: I will only take from the mayor exactly half the food he gives to others, so there." There was a silence after these words. People didn't know what to think. Could Mr. Snoop have a cellar full of carrots if he was willing to let others look and see? And could he be so mean, as they thought, if he offered to take only half the food that everyone else was having? "Well, we'll see what we shall see," said Dame Bent, and she turned away. She told the mayor to be sure to tell his servants to look at Old Man Snoop's cellars carefully the next day, for she didn't trust him at all. Old Man Snoop went home very angry. Now, because of that interfering Dame Bent, he'd have to hide all the carrots he'd stored in his cellar. "I'll put them in my burrow and wheel them down the middle of Longfield and dig a hole there and bury them," said Mr. Snoop to himself. "I'll hide them all away, and I'll leave about 12 in the cellar. I'll be able to slip out each night and get some in for my soup, so I shall easily be able to manage on half the food that the mayor gives to others." They thought I was generous over that. That night, Old Man Snoop wheeled many barrow-loads of carrots to the middle of Longfield. He dug a big hole and buried them there. Then he marked the place with 4 white stones set together. The next day, the servants of the mayor came round to everyone to collect what food they had. They came to Old Man Snoop's house and asked for food he had in his larder and cellars, and he flung open the doors. "There you are," he said. "Take what you see. I don't wish to keep anything back." There were only 12 carrots in the cellar. "He told the truth," whispered one servant to another. "Dame Bent was wrong." The next day, everyone went to the storehouse to get their ration of food. Old Man Snoop, too. He asked for only half, for what he had made up his mind to appear very good and generous. "And don't give me any carrots, please, because I don't like them at all," said Mr. Snoop in a loud voice, hoping that Dame Bent would hear him. "They give me dreadful pain. On no account give me carrots." He knew he'd have plenty of carrots of his own to eat. Clever Mr. Snoop. That night, Snoop went to fetch himself a few carrots for soup, and he had a very good meal, far bigger than anyone else in Shiver village. He went to bed and slept soundly, for his meanness never worried him. In the morning, what a surprise! The ground was deep in snow. It was still snowing when Mr. Snoop looked out of the window, and it snowed all day. Well, that was the end of Mr. Snoop going out to find his carrots. The 4 white stones that marked them were buried deep under the snow. He couldn't go digging down all over the field, for people would see the marks in the snow and guess what he'd been doing. It was most annoying. So Mr. Snoop had to go without his carrots, and as he had only half the amount of food that everyone else had, he felt very hungry. What a mistake he had made. "Never mind," he said to himself. "When the snow goes, I shall find my carrots again, and I shall be all right. I must go hungry for a few days." During the snow, the rabbits in the fields were very hungry too, for the grass was buried under the snow. But soon a rabbit smelt the pit of carrots, and it wasn't long before he dug a tunnel to them and told all of his brothers and sisters about them. Oh, the rabbits had a wonderful time eating the carrots, and then one morning, Dame Bent, walking down the snowy path that ran around Longfield, noticed a bitten carrot lying on the snow, and then she saw another, and another. She followed them and came to a big hole in the snow, leading down to the pit of carrots, which was now uncovered by the rabbits. "Oh, look at that!" said Dame Bent, guessing that it was Old Man Snoop's hoard of carrots. "Oh, he must tell the mayor, and he must send his men to collect such a lovely store of carrots. My, my, my!" Well, the carrots were soon collected, but Old Man Snoop didn't know that. He didn't get any of them, of course, because he had said he didn't like carrots. He was very glad when the snow went, because now, he thought, he could go out and fetch him plenty of carrots from his store, and how hungry he was. So that night, when the weather had turned warm and all of the snow was melting, Old Man Snoop took his lamp and went out with a basket to find the 4 white stones that marked his pit of carrots. But there were no carrots there except for a few half-eaten ones that were hardly any good at all. Old Man Snoop stood there and wept. "Oh, my carrots! Oh, my lovely carrots! Oh, the rabbits have got them! Oh, what a dreadful thing!" The next day, Mr. Snoop went to the storehouse with the others to collect his food ration, and he saw piles and piles of carrots. Dame Bent saw him looking at them and smiled. "Ah, Mr. Snoop, what a pity you don't like carrots," she said. "These were found most unexpectedly in the middle of the field by your house. Extraordinary, isn't it? Everyone is getting a good share of them each day except you, and of course you don't like carrots." So poor Mr. Snoop had to go without his carrots after all, and as he only had half the food that other people had, he felt very hungry and miserable indeed all that winter. How glad he was when the cold weather went and springtime came, with its new stocks of green food and salad and rhubarb. Oh, how he gobbled everything up. "Oh, never be so mean again," he said, as he sat down to a rhubarb pie. "I'm so thin that my bones rattle against one another, and all because I was mean and greedy, and I wouldn't share with others. I don't think I deserve to lose all my carrots like that, all the same." But he did, of course, and it was a very good thing too, that he lost them, because it cured him of some very nasty ways, didn't it?